Hi there, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls. We have a tremendous wrestling card for you today here on All-Star Championship Wrestling, which, of course, features the world's greatest wrestlers.
My little itty-bitty bruiser buddies.
United States heavyweight champion from Brazil. The world's heavyweight champion from the AWA, Nick Bockwinkel.
The Midwest supporting, bruiser loving, positivity spreading, world's most dangerous podcast. Join former pro wrestler and promoter Dave Dynasty as he supports and promotes Midwest pro wrestling. Keep on growing with the Midwest Express. This is the Dave Dynasty Show.
Greetings and welcome to the Dave Dynasty Show. I am your host, Dave Dynasty. Thank you for joining us again this week for another great episode. We've got two spectacular interviews with you today. A couple guys maybe you haven't heard of, but you should. A couple of guys who are going to make a mark here in Midwest wrestling. More of a mark. Let's say they're already making marks. This sounds really weird right now, so I'm gonna sway this a little bit here. But two guys who are going to have a huge impact in Midwest wrestling in the next few years, or however you want to put it. It's Atlas Hytower and Dalton Davis. You know, I try to do this nice little introduction for the interviews and hype them up and pump them up. And man, I just fumbled that all over the place, but whatever. Watch for these guys, right? They're going to be great. They are great. And if you see them on a show in your area, make sure you check them out, or get out there and hit the road and go check them out. And wherever you are, make sure you check out and support wrestling in your area. There's lots of great shows everywhere, all the time, especially every weekend. So get out there, support these guys, support these promotions, and make sure you're doing it right? Support the guys that are doing it right. Support the promotions that are doing it right. Stay away from the guys that are kind of leaving a mark. Here we are, back to mark again, right? The guys that are leaving a stain on wrestling. That's my suggestion. But you do what you want. It's your time. It's your money. Do what you will. Like I said, we have a great show with two interviews today. Let's get a couple plugs in. You can check me out this coming weekend, May 11th in Portland, Indiana for DCCW. Me and Ike will be doing the live stream and commentary again there that night. And check us out. If you can't be there in person, check out DCCW on Facebook. They're at DCCW Indiana. And watch the live stream that night. We're going to be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to it. June 8th and 9th will be in Milwaukee for Crusher Fest. You can go to crusherfest.com for more information. Big unveiling of the Crusher statue in that town. I'm very excited about being there. Should be a blast. We'll have lots of coverage of that event on all of our social media and here on the podcast. Remember, you can check out over 100 independent wrestling organizations and over 4,000 hours of content at powerslam.tv. And if you sign up now, you get 1 month free if you use the promo code Dynasty. So go check that out. It's well worth it. Month free. What more can you want? Just use the promo code Dynasty. That's it. I think it's all the plugs we got. I've been a little under the weather here lately. I've been rushed around. Had a huge, busy weekend. Lots going on. Lots of different things I had to go to. Running all over the place. It's been nuts. On this day, our daily history segment will be returning this week. I don't know exactly what day, but it will be back, so just watch for it this week. I do promise you, as things start to settle into a groove here after my crazy, crazy weekend. So let's take a break, and we'll tell you all about where you can find us on social media, etc. And then on the flip side, we will have the first of those two interviews, this one with Atlas Hytower. So stick around. Hey, make sure you visit DaveDynasty.com. That is your central hub for everything within the world of the Dave Dynasty Show. From there, you can find links to follow us on all of our social media accounts. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course YouTube, which you will want to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have lots of classic wrestling, every episode of the podcast, and other exclusive features there. While you're at DaveDynasty.com, check out the links to help financially support the show. That is how we keep this free every week. You can go to ProWrestlingTees.com/The Dave Dynasty and buy a shirt to help us out. PayPal.me/The Dave Dynasty to make a one-time financial contribution. Patreon.com/The Dave Dynasty to make ongoing monthly contributions. or you can click our affiliate links for Amazon.com and HighSpots.com. No additional charge to you, but it helps us out. Thank you for your support, and check out DaveDynasty.com. Complete your experience with the Dave Dynasty Show.
And welcome back to the Dave Dynasty Show. I am your host, Ike Isaacson. Today, I am joined with Atlas Hytower. How are we doing today?
I'm doing very, very Dave Dynasty Show.
It's a pleasure. But Atlas, let's go ahead and just jump right into it. So, Atlas, tell us, where are you from?
I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan.
Wow, so Detroit, Michigan. And you said that's where you currently reside as well?
Mm-hmm, yep.
Absolutely. So, tell us, what was it like growing up in Detroit? Did you play any sports behind, or what was that like?
I never really was a sports guy, or ever was really into sports or anything like that. I played basketball when I don't really count that or anything, but in high school, though, I was on the Melvindale wrestling team. I was on there for about 2 years in professional wrestling. And that's pretty much the only organizer I've done, kid, so. But other than that, though, I am a sport.
So then, let me ask you this, because I feel like this will be a good question then. So that you kind of did professional wrestling. What are your memories of professional wrestling? Were you always a fan of wrestling, or is that something that came later in life?
Oh man, I was always a fan. Ever since kid, man. I was a kid who grew up in the freaking 90s, so.
Right.
I had Stone Cold, The Rock, Triple H, the Monday Night Wars, all that good stuff. So, but I was just a kid, and I didn't really know what I was really seeing half the time. All I know is that seeing this thing on TV, and I thought it was pretty cool because it reminded me of a comic book. Now, I've just been hooked ever since. Like, I've been a big fan. Like, I think it started since I was like seven or eight, I think.
So it's always kind of been there. Wrestling's always been present.
Yeah.
But obviously, at some point, you said, you know what, I'm going to be in a ring. So when did you know that this was something that you should do? Wrestling kind of just hooked you and what happened?
Well, how should I start by answering this? I always knew I wanted to do it. I just didn't know how to get into it. I would always, I would read the magazines, but can't really find any way to get it. And it was not until seeing films like Beyond and stuff like that give me an idea of how to get into something like that. But really, in school, I was focusing on wrestling came first.
Right.
I was at a flea market 12 years ago, and I saw this flyer. They got a show here and a freaking ring here too. So when I checked this out, I saw the ring, and this was the day before the show. Ring, and if I could step in, and the first two guys who ever allowed me to step into a ring was Big Man Hud and Judas Coltrane, and I thank those guys very, very much because they were there and they just told me to get on in. So I just went on into the ring. I, tried the mat. I tried to hit the ropes. Shitty as hell. Who cares? Ooh, I'm sorry. Am I allowed to cuss?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Oh, cool. Sweet. Shitty as hell, though. I asked if I could speak to whoever was in charge there, and they pointed me towards the right guy, and they told me who to go through, and that man's name was Mike Blackwell, and he's the one who provided me with professional training by Briar Wellington, Richie Boy from JCW, and ever since then, man, I've been trying to make. I can't even get it out. I just been trying to get my name out there. So, damn, man, it's just been fun.
Right, absolutely. So, I guess tell us a little bit about what that training was like, because obviously training is different for everybody, and different people experience it different ways. But what was your training like?
My training consisted of a lot of drills, a lot of changing your elevation, going from up and down, a lot of spin drills, a lot of drills, man. You never stop moving. Just keep on going. And that was basically it. And then just like over time, it was just kind of like on the job training.
Right.
So, it was. I feel like you learn more when you're on the job, when you're actually on the site, as opposed to just training the ring without a crowd. You know what I mean? Because you want to get that extra, because you want to feel them. And I think the best place to feel that crowd is going out there in front of a live crowd of people who paid money to see professional wrestling. So
yeah,
that's what my training was like. Just lots of drills, but also like my training never ever stops. I just did some training last night with Mr. Briar Wellington, and had a good few hours in the ring with some ring time, and you're good, man. And this is you never ever stop. You never ever stop educating yourself. You should always want to learn more. So.
No, absolutely.
So I'm still training in a way. It's just like I'm kind of like beyond just that. I'm just working. I'm just trying to work on some in the ring, trying to focus on my craft and everything. So training never stops.
And I've heard that a lot from a lot of older guys, that the second they stop learning in the ring is the second they stop wrestling.
Yeah, get the hell out.
Right. So this is all up on this, and this is one of my favorite things to ask people is, do you remember what your first match was like?
I remember it wasn't good. I remember it was just me thinking that I was a wrestler, just doing all this stuff. But over time though, I learned how to do everything. So, but my first match, I don't want to talk about it. Don't want to talk about it.
That is fair. That is fair.
Yeah.
So
better now.
I would really hope so. No, I can. So then about 11 years now, right? Is that an accurate number? About 11 years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, the wrestling business, it changes on a dime. It's very evolution-based, one style of wrestling, and then, it kind of just evolves, much like wrestlers do.
Mm-hmm.
How has the business changed in your time in the business?
I would say that it has really changed a lot. As when I hear from the vets that they say that we don't know how easy they don't know that they don't see how easy that everybody has it now, because now anybody can just set their phone up and just record a match, and they edit it up and they put it out there or YouTube or whatever, and they try to get some views out there. It builds up their confidence. And wait, what was the question again? I'm sorry.
You're good. I was asking, how has the business changed in your time?
It's just a lot more convenient to put yourself out there now, for everybody. You know what I mean? This social media stuff, insane now, man. You can just record a match and just put it out there, and everybody sees it. So,
right.
That's pretty much the biggest change that I have seen, because I know way back in the day, anybody could record their match, but the camera was not as accessible as it was 20 years ago. Because now you can just record anything now. Back then, it was more of word of mouth. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, with not only with technology, but like you said, social media has elevated professional wrestling in the ability to market yourself to a whole nother level. I mean, literally, their marketing is everything in wrestling, and social media has made it so much easier.
Oh yeah. It's definitely helped. It's been a big help for a lot of guys.
No, absolutely. So I guess kind of on the same lines, I mean, I definitely feel like in the more recent professional wrestling, independent wrestling, I should say, has kind of evolved into a very incredible thing. It is independent wrestling is probably hottest than right now. So in
Absolutely. Yes.
So then, like in your opinion, because you've been in wrestling when it wasn't the best, and you've been in wrestling right now when it is probably the best. What would you say the best and the worst part of being in this business is?
The best and the worst part about being in this business, getting hurt really, really bad. I would say that's probably the worst. Probably say the best part is making connections with the boys and the girls who work behind the scenes and who are on the show. Like the best thing is that family. That right there's the best thing. Everybody has to look out for each other.
Right.
That's always to me. That right to me, boom, right there. That right there is the best. It's the whole fraternity. That right there's the whole thing. Because tomorrow I'm doing a show, and there's something where a guy is in a bad spot, who is a part of the show. And the boys are making donations to help them out. That right there is the best thing about this business. Whenever one of our own needs help, we're there. If that makes sense.
No, absolutely. It's definitely camaraderie. I mean, you basically you help each other need it, and you don't expect anything in return. So it can be a very selfless business if you do.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
but first part is really bad. That's definitely the part.
So I guess actually following up on that, have you in your time in business, have you ever gotten hurt, and what was it like to kind of come back from that if you have?
Yeah, I got hurt. I got my teeth knocked out. What else has happened? I had my head split upside the freaking chair. That was about it. That was about it. I got kicked in the face, and I got busted in the head with a whip. Sure, real ball.
That's why I was like telling people who were watching, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's all fake. Yeah, they're just hitting each other with chairs." I'm like, "Look, I promise you that's real. They are really hitting each other with chairs. That's can't fake that."
Yeah. You cannot fake that at all. You cannot fake that. Just can't.
Just can't. That's
I got the scar to prove it.
I'll send them your way. I'll be like, look, I got the scars to prove it.
Right there.
Sure. But so I guess kind of set a little bit of a different path, because we've talked about where you've come from, how you got to where you are now. But where all do you currently work? I mean, just in case somebody wanted to come see Atlas in action. What are some of your home promotions that you like to visit often?
Oh, well, you can see me at Horror Slam, Powerbomb, Blue Water Championship. You can see me at MBWA. You can see me at Metro Pro. I'm all over the place in the Downriver area. And tomorrow night, you see me, I'm going to be Riverview at Rocky's Pub for Horror Slam, where I will be in a tag team match with El Ridiculoso. We are known as the Ghostbusters, and we are going up against the Dead Seven for the Horror Slam Tag Team Champion match at Deathmatch Apocalypse at Rocky's Pub. That's going to be tomorrow night. And Sunday, I'm going to be in Toledo for Powerbomb Pro, where I go up against Karam Salem. He's a big old dude. Take him down. Well, at least tried to, but he's not going to take me down. And I got Metro Pro with D-Ray going up against him. Going to show him what's up. He might be D-3000. I'm Atlas Hytower over 9,000. You hear me, you Dragon Ball Z fans? And yeah, that's where you guys can see me.
So, first of all, huge Dragon Ball Z fan. So I dig it. But also, you mentioned Powerbomb Wrestling, and I feel like Powerbomb Wrestling is a really incredible promotion that's doing some really innovative stuff. So what's like working there with like the show and having some of the great veterans?
It's awesome. I look forward to going to that place every time I get a chance to go because there are a lot of good guys there, like Amazing Nate, who trained me about 5 years ago when I went back to training, and he started and he trained me. Guys like Gideon Malice is there. Guys like Palmer Cruz is there. It's pretty dope, man. Powerbomb really, really good. Really, really dope.
Yeah.
Look, I always have a good time.
Absolutely. So definitely you work for some great promotions. And I mean, over time, like we talked about, I mean, you've been in this business for over a decade. So another great thing I love asking people, especially people who have been in this business for as long as you have, what's the top highlight of your career so far for you personally?
That's kind of hard because I feel like I haven't reached my goal yet.
Right.
Haven't really fully reached my potential. But I have come a long way, though. I will say I have come a long way. My biggest height issue, I mean, I don't know. I was just, I can't really say if it's a match or a moment, but I can definitely say that it was probably the first time I ever had the chance to step into an actual ring, and like that was really big for me. That right there was really big. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to sound lame, but that is something that I kind of think about almost every day. So,
absolutely. I mean, realistically, a lot of people who have a dream or you would say, "Hey, I want to be in wrestling," they don't get the opportunity to get in the ring. So, definitely understand where you're coming from. I mean, you were able to get that chance, to step in the ring and start to your passion, and that is a highlight for sure, 100%.
Yeah, because I think it's amazing that like somebody, and I'm not just saying just me, but somebody can say that they're going to do something, and then like some folks will support you, some folks won't, some folks won't even care, some folks see you fail, some folks want to see you. As long as you want it, that's all that matters. That right there is the true highlight to me. Because if you tell yourself that you can do this, and if you know that you can do it, and if you go out there and just get it, man, you got it. Just keep, make this that's kind of what this ring is. Like, if you want anything in this world, you go out there and get it. Like, nobody was gonna learn this but me. So this is like very, very important to me. Like, it means a lot. And there's been a lot of times where it's got me down. There's a lot of times where it's got me so high, man. Like, I feel like I'm on top of the world. But that's just what it's all about, man. It's just
absolutely.
Just the whole thing. Sorry, but it's the whole thing, man. Like, just the whole fact that, like, because, like, I just remember being a kid and, like, being picked on and everything, and being told that, you're never going to do this, why you want to do this, and you finally get a chance to do it, and you stick with it because you kind of want to prove everybody wrong, but more importantly, you want to prove yourself because only you can go out there and do it. No one else is going to do it for you but you. You got to run this ring, man.
Well, I feel very inspired right now because, like, you're right. I mean, that goes for anybody out there. I mean, no matter what it is you're doing, if you're not a wrestler, you're just some dude that's got a 9 to 5. I mean, you have to. The ring is life. You got to get in there, you got to rock it, and you got to run it. I mean, there's nothing else to it. You keep going. You got to prove yourself, and you got to prove it to the people you need to prove it to.
Abso-freaking-lutely, man. Nobody can do it but you. If you want it, go get it. Don't let nobody tell you that you can't do it. I hate when somebody tells you that you can't do it. I just hate that. Maybe it's because much when I was young, because I was a freaking skinny kid, you know what I mean? And I was picked on, and like I was treated like crap. You know, some folks treated me good. That always gave me hope. But I knew what I wanted to do, and the fact that I can do it now, I feel like I got the power. You know. So sorry, but
no.
but that's just how deep it is in me, because this right here is me. This right here is me. So
that's absolutely right. Look, man, if you got the passion, you got the passion. That's all that matters. Whether that passion just be for wrestling or whatever it be, and that's what we like to hear.
Yep.
That's what wrestling's about, is having passion. And people forget that sometimes, but
yeah, man. It also kind of like breaks my heart when I see fans go onto Facebook and they kind of like talk about how the business is, and it's like, can people just like enjoy this? I know there's all different types of genres of this, but like, can we all enjoy it and just like not even complain about it? You know what I mean? Like, let's just enjoy it, because just because you see one bad thing doesn't mean doesn't mean that it's the end. You know what I mean? So that's another pet peeve of mine, is just folks just being bad, just being hard on these guys and girls who bust their ass day in and day out, and they don't even know what this shit is like, so sit there and just buy a ticket.
Sit there and buy a ticket. That needs to be on a T-shirt, like, for sure, because I agree, man. There are so many people, I mean, and it's hard to tell if they're just like super into wrestling and they're not smart. I guess they're not smartened up or something, or if they're just like, going too buck wild for no reason.
Man, crazy, man.
Buy a ticket.
Yeah, it is crazy, man. Just like the whole Great Lakes, man. It's like, just relax. It's meant to be enjoyed. If you don't like it, you can change the channel or leave it on and go to the fridge and get a bite to eat. You're not being forced, and it's not that serious. It's wrestling. It's meant to be enjoyed. You don't like it, you don't have to look at it.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So, with wrestling, with all things, it goes up and down. And, I'm from Indiana, so I don't know what wrestling's like in Detroit. But let me ask you, do you feel like you represent your area well for Michigan wrestling and Detroit wrestling? Because definitely in the Midwest, wrestling has been really big. You're kind of like representative for your area. So do you feel like you represent the area very well and that you do what you can, or how is it up there with all that?
Well, I do feel like I represent the whole area well, because I'm here, man, and I'm here to take this place over. I've been taking this place over for a few years now. This is my town. I run this ring. No one else does.
I mean, for some reason, well, I was just gonna say, because honestly, like, when I talk to people who wrestle, like, I feel like I talk to a lot of people who are from like the Illinois area, Chicago, the people from Ohio and Indiana, and even Kentucky. But I don't think I really don't remember a whole lot of people I've talked to who are Michigan. So my main question is that how do you represent yourself in Michigan wrestling, and do you feel like you represent the Midwest as well in wrestling?
Yeah, I do. Like, this is in my heart. So, I really want to explain that now.
When you say in the heart, that there right there explains it, because, wrestling's all heart. I mean, it's. Yeah. I'm just into some Scott Steiner stuff like math here in a minute. It's 10%.
Oh man, here we go.
My kid. So I want to slightly different, change gears again, because we've gotten to know Atlas in the ring. We've gotten to know what it is you've had to do to get to the ring. Your training and everything else. So, what is Atlas Hytower like away from the ring? What is it that Atlas likes to do in his spare time?
What do I do in my spare time? I collect Marvel, Legends, and action figures, and I work out. So, but I'm a huge action figure guy, so love that stuff. That's pretty much what I do in my pastime. Pretty much try to collect those, or go to the gym or train. So.
Hey, this is simple life, man. Action figures and gym.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, I'm a nerd, and I'm proud. So comic books are great, man.
Hey,
I love all that stuff.
No complaints here, man. I love me some comic books too. Actually, way back when, I used to work for a comic book store. So let me ask you then, because I always got to ask people. I'm sure you watch all the Marvel movies, Joe.
Yeah. Are we going to talk about Endgame?
I was gonna say, are you gonna watch Endgame this weekend? I know that's comes out today, doesn't it?
If I am, I have to, man. I have to. If I don't, I don't know. My head is gonna explode. Like, I gotta know. I gotta see it.
Right.
The last one was really good. This one, like, everybody cried and everybody laughed and everybody said that it was great. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to see it. Like, I cannot wait to see it. I think it's going to be
That's what everybody's saying. Everybody said it's great. And, I'm pretty pumped to see it, too. It's going to be 3 hours.
But I do, man, I really don't care. I would not care if that movie was 5 hours long. I would not care at all, dude. Like, they do a great job. But what was I going to say, though? Damn it, I'm having a brain fart. Nah, it'll definitely come back to me. Oh! The cast. I just saw a video on YouTube where, who is the chick who plays Captain Marvel?
Brie Larson.
Oh, man, dude, whenever they're in an interview, like, it's like whenever she talks, man, everybody's face is just like, why is this bitch talking? Like, you don't like her. Like, they don't like her for some reason, man. She has heat with them. I really don't know why. But geez, man, like, that was kind of like cringe-worthy, man. It was like, everything that you're saying, they don't like you. You say what, man?
I'm going to have to go look that up. Because I actually read an article that said that, like, nobody really liked her on the set. Everybody was just kind of like, she's alright.
Yeah, like, man, dude, like, I want to know what the hell she did now. Like, this shit is great. It's like wrestling, dude. That's what it's like. Why she got heat? Why in the hell does she got heat with everybody on the damn cast? Why?
Yeah, I was like, whose cheers is she pissing and why?
Right, man. It's funny as shit, though. It's great.
So, yeah, for everybody out there who has no idea what we're talking about, you're living under a rock and you need to watch the movies from that size.
Yeah. Y'all need to get hip.
That's right. So, I guess to switch gears back to where we were there for a little bit, so, we've gotten to know you, what you do in and out of the ring. So for right now, obviously, we're in it's April, almost May 2019. What can we expect from Atlas Hytower for the remainder of 2019?
More of Atlas Hytower. More of Run This Ring.
That's what we like.
is what you are going to expect. You're going to experience. You're going to keep on getting this, and it's going to get better and better every time you see it. Whenever you hear about it, it's going to sound better because it's Atlas Hytower and he runs this ring, bro. So don't forget that, Ike.
I will not forget that. I will not forget the words, run this ring.
Three simple words, man. Three simple words, man. Yo, those aren't just my words, too. Those can be your words. Anybody who hears this, you can use those words. Whenever you're in the jam, run this ring. You got it. You got it.
I like that. If you ever get in the jam, run this ring. That's right.
You got it.
So, as always, I have to ask. Well, first of all, I want to thank you very much, of course, for coming on here and talking to us and, just giving us your life story and just giving us a peek inside of what you do on the day-to-day. So definitely it's appreciated. We really thank you for coming, of course.
No problem, Mike. Thanks for having me. This is really, really fun.
Absolutely. But one thing that before I actually let you go, I do want to ask, because with the modern age of social media and with everything else, do you have any social media that fans can follow you on and keep up with?
Oh, yeah. On Facebook, just follow me, add me, do whatever you want at Atlas Hytower. On Instagram, Atlas_Hytower, and on the Twitter, at Atlas Hytower. Hit me up, send me a tweet, send me a DM, send me whatever. Say some love, and I'll send you some love back.
There you go. So everybody out there who is listening, you know what to do now. Go follow him on all the social media. You also know where you can send him this weekend. Well, this will probably come out today, but regardless, you know what to do now. Go follow him on these and all these platforms. You can see where he's going to be, what he's up to, and hopefully we'll see you do greater and greater things already doing. But Atlas, thank you again, of course, for coming on here. We appreciate it. And stay safe. Like you said, this is a crazy world. It's so easy to get hurt in there. So keep your thoughts and you stay safe, all right?
Thank you very much. I appreciate the words. Ike, Dave Dynasty Show, thank you very much for having me. You guys are awesome. Bless you guys. Run this ring. I'll talk to you later.
If you are looking for the best books, DVDs, and posters on classic wrestling nostalgia, then you want to visit crowbarpress.com. There are literally dozens of titles there, including biographies of the likes of Bruiser Brody, Ole Anderson, Ivan Koloff, and of course, Dick the Bruiser, as we've spoke about here on the Dave Dynasty Show. You want to visit crowbarpress.com for all of your classic wrestling nostalgia needs. Again, that is crowbarpress.com.
And welcome back to the Dave Dynasty Show. I am your co-host, Ike Isaacs, and today I am joined with Dalton Davis. How are we doing today?
Good. How about yourself?
Hey, not doing too bad. Cannot complain. Well, hey, we'll go ahead and jump right into it. So, Dalton, where are you from?
Haute, Indiana.
Oh, very nice. Terre, Indiana. Is that where you were? Is that where you were born and grew up, or is that where you moved to shortly after?
Yes, sir. I was born at Eden Hospital here in Terre Haute, Indiana, and just lived here my whole life. It's one of those places where everybody dogs on, but then again, I can't call any other place home. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely. So growing up in Terre Haute, what was that like? Did you play any sports?
Well, funny story about that. Growing up in Terre Haute, it definitely, I don't know. It definitely thickened my skin, if that makes any sense. Some of the neighborhoods aren't that great down here, but we have the worst of the worst and the best of the best, if that makes any sense. But playing sports, actually growing up, when I was first born, I was born with a IgA deficiency, which is a system. So my immune system was weaker than everybody else's. And I remember being born, well, I remember my parents telling me about it. The doctors basically looked at him and were like, hey, he's not going to be able to play sports. He's not going to be able to go to public schools. He's basically going to have to live a confined life in his room, at home, that type of thing. But, not trying to sound like I put myself over or anything, but I defied the odds. Went to public school my whole life, except like a year ago I started doing online schooling so I can be able to, be able to wrestle more. I played football since first grade, football and baseball. Sixth grade I started testing the waters with amateur wrestling. Started doing that. I played basketball. About the only sports I haven't played is, swimming, tennis, soccer. It definitely, playing sports here in Terre Haute is one of those things where, it definitely toughened me up for not only wrestling, but my personal life as well, and has formed some unbreakable bonds. I was born an only child. My mom had a couple miscarriages, and that's played in life with, a little brother I could play with, or an older brother I could wrestle around with. But I was grateful enough to not only get those kind of brotherhood friendships in not only wrestling, but in football and sports as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, to kind of generate off of that, I mean, especially with a deficiency of that nature, with that kind of that illness, you entered into a very unique line of work, since it's very active and it's very people-centric, and, you're definitely out there a lot. So I guess what kind of prompted you to want to train?
As cliche as it sounds, it's kind of all I really, wanted to do with my life. Growing up, I also had asthma, and so I was in and out of the hospital a lot as a kid. I remember being rushed to Riley Children's Hospital and Pink Main Children's Hospital, and, kind of as my time to be like, okay, I don't care, we can do the x-rays, we can do the treatments, we can do the IVs and stuff later, but Monday, and it was when SmackDown was running on Fridays, I was like, I need, 8 so to 10, 11 so. It was kind of like wrestling was my breakaway time, if that makes any sense. And growing up, I always told myself, like, one day, I'm going to do that. Not necessarily to do it as in like I'm going to make it, because, that's everybody's hopes and dreams. But I wanted to be able to do it as in like I basically would tell these doctors, like, hey, like, see what a hope and a prayer and good positive vibes bring. And that's what kind of got me into wrestling. And I remember going to my first wrestling show. It was actually in West Terre, Haute. And some guy it was a team match, and they did the 2 guys, were on the outside. The other 2 guys went for the dive. And I remember one guy just right off, and I was in the front row, probably, I don't know, 8 years old at the time, and I had a guy land on me. And, of course, guys would, they brought me to the back, made sure I was okay, not concussed. But I was the type, like, instead of sitting there, crying, like, man, I was, a 200-plus pound guy, I straight at my head, I was like, that was awesome. Let's do it again. I'll catch him this time, So wrestling has just been like kind of like my big middle finger to the doctors that told me I wouldn't be able to do it. So yeah,
right. And it's definitely a pretty I guess you could say a normal person who doesn't have that extra step, if you will.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So from what I know, from the research that we've done, you began training at a pretty young age, isn't that right?
Yes. I started with New Wave Pro Wrestling here in Terre Haute. Started out. I started going to their shows, and I was that little kid that, if the crowd wasn't feeling it, I was the guy that was like, hey, this is the bad guy, you boo him, and this is the good guy, you cheer him. Like, I was that maniac wrestling fan. Heck, I even remember, I don't know if you're familiar with, he goes by Tolerant Zero. He used to wrestle at New Wave, and I remember and he smacked my nachos clear across the ring, or across the arena, and fans just lost it. But through that, my dad started doing security. So I would always be there early. You know, my dad would be there. They would tell them what they need and what they don't need, stuff like that. Once I got older, they had a travel show, and I just was the promoter at the time, and I said, hey, man, like, I know I'm too young to wrestle or wrestle anything, but can I help maybe on ring crew? And he's like, yeah, sure, go ahead, man. So, I started helping with ring crew, made some bonds that way, and one day the bell ringers couldn't make it, and he was like, hey, like, you want a bell ring? You know, me being young at the time, I was like, man, like, you know, this is where it's at. Like, I'm not a fan. I still am a fan at heart, but then again, like, I'm on the other side of the guardrail. So to me, that was a big deal. And then one day, Mikey made a post and said something looking for wrestling reps and you know, ring crew, whoever's interested, let me know. So I sent him a text, and I was like, hey, man, like, you know, what's the possibility of me wrestling? Because at first when I talked to him about wrestling, he was like, I'm going to wait until, you know, you're 18 because, you know, just to see, like, you know, let my body fully grow, because obviously this is not no ballet. This is, you know, a hard contact sport.
Right.
And he was like, yeah, man, you know, we'll start. So I trained as a ref with Ollie Stark and started, you know, worked my way through there. I worked a couple promotions for wrestling, like NWA, CCW, which I prayed for even giving me the NBA show. WCWO, I made, you know, that's how I kind of started making my bond with wrestling. And then eventually, I turned, I think it was 14 or 15. We had a Relay for Life show, and that was near and dear to my heart because I had lost, you know, family members from breast cancer. My mom battled. So I just went up to Mikey and I was like, hey, man, like, I know I got this much of a window. I don't care if it's a squash match or whatever. I was like, is there any way I can work this show? And he would want it. And I was like, yeah, man, this would really mean a lot to me. And he's like, all right, we'll start training. I started training Sam Knight. He started, you know, showing me the way around and stuff. And I had my first match at the ISU Gymnasium here in Terre Haute against Jason Levi. I was under a mask. God, that was so glad I'm out of that one. Went by, you know, I was a RVD mark, and I was like, you know, 3 letters, let's do it. And yeah, and then, you know, that slowly progressed into, I went up to Mikey, I was like, hey, like, I'm really in love with this wrestling stuff. Thank you for getting the opportunity for wrestling. I love it, but I was like, my heart is set on wrestling. I said, I understand that completely, but if you can just give me the, you know, pull the trigger on letting me wrestle, I would greatly appreciate it. And he was just like, you know what? He was like, you've been on me about it. He was like, I can see that you want it. And then Dalton Davis won.
Absolutely. So definitely, it's been an upward climb. You know, it's been a couple of steps after another. Had your fair share of hurdles so far. And like you said, you know, you've been told that you couldn't do several things, and for sure have given the big old middle finger to everybody who told you not to. But I have to ask, with everything that you do deal with, is it something that still affects you to this day, or is it ever a factor or a motivator for your performance? Is there anything that ever kind of affects you with that?
And are you talking about, like, as in, like, the sicknesses that I've battled? Interesting. Right.
I think, let me see the best way to word that. So I think what I'm asking is that, does this affect you now to the point where you can't, is there days where you can't wrestle, or are there times that it's harder for you to wrestle? Is this still something that actively impacts you today? To that extent, I should say.
It's hard to say. Does it affect me as much as what I did when I was little? No, not at all. But I mean, obviously, there is times where, like, I feel under the weather, but I never make it a point to cancel a booking or be like, hey, man, I couldn't make it to a show. You know, like, I'm super sick. I guess the way I've obviously, grown somewhat out of it, if that makes any sense. Not fully, I still have, like a normal cold to some people, it affects me bad, and my asthma has gotten better, I hit the gym Monday through Friday. I know it may not look like it, but I definitely do. But yeah, I guess it motivates me, if anything. Like, I remember, like, there's times where I'll be hanging out with my mom and my dad or my girlfriend at the time, and it's just like I'm sitting there and it's like, man, like, I'm not feeling good. My stomach hurts because, some of the medicines that I was on, this is another fact, and this is something that I'll never be able to get out of. Some of the medicines that I was on, it deteriorated my stomach lining. So there's days where I feel like my stomach, there's like somebody inside punching it. But then it's just one of those things where I just sit there and I'm like, like I could sit here and the doctors be like, yeah, we told you shouldn't have done it. Or, I can get to the arena, get my gear on, go out, have a performance, do something that I love and that makes me happy. And in the long run, honestly, it helps me feel better because I feel like I've accomplished something. But yeah, if anything, it definitely motivates me along with my parents and my girlfriend. It's definitely something that keeps, the spark there for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I guess along those same lines, I mean, you're still very young and you're at the beginning of your journey in wrestling, if you will. And you definitely have many more years in this business. So with everything taken into consideration, everything that you've had to, all the hurdles and everything else, where do you want wrestling to take you? Obviously, I think a lot of people have a similar answer that maybe one day make it to the big leagues, but what do you hope to get out of wrestling as a whole?
Honestly, my thing is different than everybody else. I mean, yeah, one day, it'd be awesome to get that call from Vince McMahon or from ROH or AEW, someplace big like that. But the way I want it is I just want somebody, same thing that I went to is when I was younger, to be able to be like, if Dalton can do it, I can do it, and, help that kid, progress. That's why I give so much, big thanks and praise to Corey Storm with that Caden and Corey story. That hit really home to me. And I love Corey to death for sticking by that kid's side. But yeah, that's all I want to be. I guess if anything, I want to be an inspiration to somebody who had, the type of, illness or had people telling them, like, you know what, you can't really do it because, if you do, you have a possibility of being, more sick than you already are. Me personally, I guess I just want to make a mark, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
No, yeah, absolutely. You want to be kind of used as more of an example of what you can do if you try. You don't want to be you don't just want to be another another tumbleweed in the wind. You just want to be something that kind of stands out, but in a good way. So I guess
for sure.
So I guess actually kind of exactly what you're saying, your goal is to hopefully give somebody else the hope or the chance that they need to say, well, if he can do it, I can do it. So if somebody was listening right now who might be facing something that is a deterrent, whether that be an illness or a personal thing or just something in their lives, what would you say to them?
What would I say to them? I would just, as cliche as it sounds, and this is so true, if you put your heart and mind to something, you can really accomplish anything. Like, it's one of those things, like, yeah, you're always raised up to be like, all right, well, listen to your doctors, do this, do that. But then again, you can't live your life wondering what ifs. You got to be like, well, man, I did that. That's what happened. You know what I mean? Like, all I got to say is don't live your life with a what if or a thought. Live your life with memories. Just be what you want to be. And as you get older, be who you needed to be when you were littler. And just fight for what you want. Whether that be, maybe you want to be a police officer, be a police officer. If you want to, go into any type of, the armed forces, go into there. Don't live your life for somebody else and what they say. Like I said, live your life for memories and not what ifs.
Absolutely. 100% would agree with that. So I guess to take the interview in a slightly different direction, we definitely talked a lot about wrestling and, where you've been, where you want to go, and what you want to do. So I guess a little bit on a different subject. We always like to kind of get to know the wrestler outside of the ring as well as in. So away from the ring, what does Dalton Davis do outside the ring? What kind of hobbies do you have? Is there any special thing that you like to do or anything like that?
Honestly, I'll be honest with you. The real Dalton Davis is a very boring person. I'm that type of guy. I love going to the gym. I love pushing my body to the limits. I love being around my family and my girlfriend and, spending time with them. I love going fishing. I guess what I could say is Dalton Davis inside the ring is polar opposites from Dalton Davis outside of the ring. I'm the type of guy that, while other, kids my age are like, yeah, let's go to this house party. Let's do this, let's do that. I'm the type of guy that's like, hey, I got the new Battlefield 5. You guys want to come over and play it? Or, hey, I'm about to go to the gym. Anybody want to go to the gym? But yeah, I'm definitely a boring person. Like I said, I love being around family. I love, being with my girlfriend. I love going to the gym, fishing. As weird as it sounds, I like going on long drives with music blasting because if you ask me, that's the most awesome thing to do on this earth. It's just, you an open road and, Madonna playing on the radio. It's just, that's Dalton Davis outside of the ring.
Absolutely. That's okay, man. If you keep it low key, that's a life to live. That's what I like to do. I like to keep it low key when I'm not doing stuff like this, and you gotta live just live it the way you want to live it, like you said.
For sure. I'm the type of person that just don't do anything to get me in trouble, or that can possibly get me in trouble. That's the way I like to do it. I'm still that kid that messages his buddies that are like, hey, you guys want to play a game of backyard football? Because, I'm the type of person that, that stuff that I wish I could have done more as a kid, When it wasn't football season, I was doing amateur wrestling, or I was in the hospital, and to be around a group of friends or family or my girlfriend, just doing things, then that's what really brings me happiness in this life.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what's important. It's happiness in this world, as long as we're on it.
For sure. For sure.
So I guess one last thing for you here before we kind of wind down is obviously you've accomplished so much so far, and you're going to accomplish so much more. What kind of goals do you have for the remainder of 2019? What can we expect from Dalton Davis in the coming months?
Well, that's a good question. I definitely want to wrestle as much as possible. I want to get my name out there. Because there's times where I still feel like there's some people in this business that were like the doctors when I was younger. We're like, you shouldn't be in it. You know what I mean? I definitely want to do something, to where I get my name out there. I want to hold, the heavyweight championship at my home fed, New Wave Pro. At some point in time, maybe not, in the upcoming months, but maybe, eventually. And yeah, I want to enjoy this as long as I have it. And I want to just give my 110% that I have in the ring. And I guess what my, upcoming goals would be is just to get my name out there and people really, start taking me seriously and just become a better Dalton Davis each and every time, I step through those ropes.
Yeah, absolutely. And, those are some very good goals, and we're very excited to see you achieve them, of course. But so that we can see you achieve them, I guess one last thing for you here. Do you have any social medias where us at the Dave Dynasty Show and the fans out there can keep track of you and see what you're going and where you're going, I should say, and what you're up to?
For sure. My Facebook, I have a Facebook. My Facebook is Dalton Davis. I have a YouTube. It's Dalton Davis Wrestling. And then my Instagram is Davis_8293. And I'm very active on all of those. Yeah, that's where you can keep a hold of me. If not that, just keep a lookout on your favorite wrestling promotion flyers and nearby shows, and hopefully you'll see me on them.
That's absolutely right. So I guess for everybody out there who is listening to this, you guys know what to do now. Go out there, follow Dalton Davis on all the wonderful social media platforms that he just mentioned. And, of course, keep an eye on him for all of your local shows. And, as always, with independent wrestling, you want to support it because independent wrestling is the lifeblood of all professional wrestling. But, Dalton, I want to thank you so much for coming onto the show, giving us the lowdown on not just your wrestling and what you want to do, but also talk to us about your life and the struggles you've had. So we definitely appreciate all the time that you've given us, and we're very grateful for that.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I was definitely honored to be on here.
From his very beginning, Dick was determined to be an athlete. He lettered in every sport he entered in Shortridge High School. His rugged individualism began to show at Purdue University, where he had a little problem with the football coach, so he said, I quit. He went on to the University of Nevada. From there, he went on to the Green Bay Packers, where he played from 1950 to 1954. Wally Carbo and Vern Gagne spotted this man, recognized his talents, convinced him to try wrestling. The rest is history. Dick became a legend before the age of 30. Now, he certainly inherited much of this from his leadership qualities from his mother, Margaret. She was very active in civic affairs, and back in the 1950s ran for Congress, which was unheard of in those days. Now, although Dick lived up to his reputation as the bruiser in the ring, outside the ring, he worked and was chairman of the Nevada Cancer Society. He worked with the Easter Seal Society, paraplegics, and many other causes. A great athlete, a great champion, a great man. And I would like, if I may, to quote the exact comments of his grandson, Tim, when Michelle and her husband, Tim, and their son went down to Florida, where Michelle's mother was waiting and grieving. They went out to dinner. Michelle's mother started to cry. And little Tim, 15 years old, looked across the table at her and said, Nana, don't cry. They needed somebody tough up there because things were getting a little out of hand, so they called on Papa. Dick the Bruiser. Michelle, thank you so very much. Our love goes with you, and our condolences for your loss.
All right, and thank you for sticking with us for another week. Thank you to Atlas and Dalton for those interviews, and I guess thank you to Ike for conducting them. Ike's still on; he's still on my list for some of his comments and his shenanigans with Vinny Vachetti here recently, but we'll let it slide today. Make sure you check us out May 11th, Portland, Indiana at DCCW. June 8th and 9th in Milwaukee for Crusher Fest. Again, that's crusherfest.com for more information. We hope to see lots of you there. Come up and say hi if you are. Make sure wherever you listen to this podcast, you subscribe to us. If you're on iTunes, rate and review us. Share the episodes. Share all the posts on social media. Keep supporting us. As you do, we bring you content free every week, and we appreciate your support. Stay active out there. Keep commenting on our posts. Keep interacting with us. We love that sort of stuff. That's it for this week. Next week, we have that Insanity Pro Wrestling episode and a huge hour-long talk with Greg Carey. It's going to be spectacular. You're not going to want to miss it. We're still maybe going to get some comments for some other guys, but man, I mean, this Greg interview is an hour long. It's already so much good content as he shares stories and memories of Insanity Pro Wrestling. You're going to want to check that out. But until then, wherever you are, whatever you do, be good, be safe, and keep on growing.